What they're trying to encourage you to do is to boost your post and increase the audience size. So the posts that you find are critical, fundraising posts, for example, you might want to boost them so that your information is getting in front of more users. And videos on Facebook are becoming more and more popular. They auto load as you're scrolling by. So having typography on your videos, like the AJ Plus style, is a great way to capture people's attention. So they click on it and open it, and you have to invest in creating good quality videos that will capture people's attention. While talking about Facebook, I pulled up some data from the campaign manager on three of the ads that Plan is running, and this was in October of 2019. I looked at their ads, and you can see here at the top left, this ad ran and was running on October 22nd. This was running around the same time, October 25th, and this was running around the same time, October 29th. So around that 1 week time frame, they had multiple ads running. What do you notice in terms of differences in these three ads? What are some things that stand out to you?
Impressions.
Okay, number of impressions, yeah.
I think the age
Engagement of
group that
woman
age group.
engagement.
That's right. Age groups, so different targeted age groups. So you can see here, this ad, which had multiple sets running, so I was only sharing the first set. They're targeting the older audiences. Millions of children are not in school. And the other one had a more longer sentence. So they're running an A/B test on the same ad. This one here, this specific one, resonated with 55 to 65-year-old women. Okay, so this ad was specifically targeting that audience. You can see that their focus is on the bigger provinces. So they're focusing on Ontario, Alberta, and BC. They're targeting where they can get their funds from. While at the same time, they were running another ad set where you can see the spike in other demographics is a lot higher. So you're finding 35 to 44, 44, 45 to 54, and you're also seeing it increasing, especially for male audiences, also increasing. Then you go here, the third ad set, you find really they're now focused on the older audiences here. And you can also see that from why. So how do Monica or Sam get to school? Find out through our interactive journey. So younger audiences between 18 to 34 are more likely to engage and understand through an interactive journey. How are people actually going in school? They themselves are in school in that age group. They might be in university, colleges, or just graduating, getting into the workforce. Whereas these ones, they're really targeting to get funding, to get people to donate towards their campaign. So you have to look at, and this ad itself had 5 versions of it. This has 10 versions of the ad. And for this one, I have it covered up right now, but they had multiple ad sets running for the same campaign. And the A/B testing, which I suggested for emails, for the smaller organizations, you may not be able to invest in having so many different ad sets running, but starting with one, seeing how it's doing, targeting a certain audience, running a second one, targeting a different audience, and you have the capabilities to do that with Facebook when you set up your ad campaigns. Okay, Instagram, we know it's a visual platform. It's more about stories, sharing visual impact that you're making. For some organizations, you may be able to show faces. For others, if you're not, then you can obviously show, the surroundings and the things that you're impacting. And it's not just about photos. People are doing boomerangs and reels and live videos, and this is a great platform to engage with that younger audience. Okay, a tool that's overlooked a lot is LinkedIn. And you want to have that congruency. So I went to the American Heart Association's LinkedIn. You can see they're using it to really have people follow and get behind them. Over close to 500,000 people engaging with them on LinkedIn. And they had a Lift Fierce campaign going on. And when I went to the website, they had a similar interlinking campaign. So you want to make sure that you are tapping into resources that are sometimes overlooked. I have found a lot of benefit in reaching out to contacts through LinkedIn. setting up one-to-one coffee chats online, getting to know them, telling them about the organization and the work we do through my personal, first, my own LinkedIn network, and then having them introduce me to new people. So it's a great way for that one-to-one networking that you would do in person. You can now do that through a platform that is set up for professionals. And Twitter. So Twitter, this is one I put. You can advertise on it, but first and foremost, organic is important. Tweet as often as you can. UNICEF, when I was following them and looking at their content, I found that they're putting out posts almost, you know, 10, 15 minutes apart sometimes, maybe 3, 4 minutes apart. For the smaller groups like myself and others that are here, you may not have that ability to have someone doing post after post after post. But if you are going to use Twitter, you have to engage, like, reshare, share content, and really make sure you can tweet as much as you can. So as a staff member, you might give them their logins, tell them, look, tweet something of relevance, comment on somebody else's, reshare stuff. You want to build that conversation on these platforms. All right, I see some hands up, but I want to cover a few more, especially crowdfunding, and then we're going to get into the questions. So this is an area people mentioned they have not spent too much time on, and I find this is an area we all could really benefit from if our targets are not that high. If you're trying to raise a couple $100,000, crowdfunding can get you there. It can also get you to the millions if you do it right. So it's a great way to involve influencers, which is a replacement to the whole celebrity approach that we are used to. It's great for building traction. It's great for exposure, and it's a great way to involve people. So here are some examples I found. This was a campaign that didn't reach its full target, but it raised over $390,000 in less than 30 days. And Mercy Bakery then done multiple campaigns, and all of them have raised quite a bit of funds. There are others. This is one that our own group here, Dawanet Sound Vision, they did, and in less than a couple of weeks, they were able to get above target of over 4,000 people. And the great thing with social media and crowdfunding is that it's user based. So users give, users share, and it creates that level of trust in other groups. And it also shows that I have donated 50, and so and so has donated 10, and so has given 50 more. So it really builds that traction, and it doesn't cost much. Some of us invest in marketing costs for our ads and so on. This is another platform that people should look at investing in. How do you involve influencers? So here's an example I found where Imam Khalid Latif, for example, he went with Islamic Relief USA to Myanmar. And then when he came back, he set up his own crowdfunding for them. And over close to 2,000 people supported it. And they raised more than the initial target. So you can involve individuals and influencers and people and reach out to them and say, look, would like to work with you. A cost of bringing a speaker to an event, hosting a venue, providing dinner, and all these things cost money. So now you have to flip the table and say, well, if I'm willing to pay to do this in person, can I pay to get a speaker to set up a crowdfunding and have them, instead of paying for a venue, to say, look, we'll give you a budget. Here's raise this much for us, and you pay them to instead of speaking, they're fundraising for you. That's one way. Or you can get influencers to do it for free. There are many that'll support a cause, that'll get behind a cause. And one that I saw recently, which was done by Muslims of the World, they involved with UMR, it's a US based charity. They involved a lot of different well known social media influencers from Canada, from US. And you see here the followings that some of these have: over a million, close to half a million. They had videos after videos coming out on their pages on Instagram. They had rappers and YouTube stars and whatever else come. It doesn't have to be religious folks, because the platforms here are, it is crowdfunding. You're getting small 5, 10, 15, $20 donations. Anybody can give those amounts. And this is what they raised in less than 2 weeks. So yes, they might have invested 15, $20,000 to get these influencers. They might have invested another 10,000 or so to get everybody there to the field. But look at the returns that they were able to get from having influencers involved. in getting this campaign out there. So yes, things cost money, but if you plan it right, for the bigger organizations, you can get to these targets and probably invest less than you would on doing a one fundraising gala. And for the smaller ones, you start small. You do personal fundraising pages through your friends and family networks, and then you work towards getting bigger and bigger people involved. And the word influencer has now become a job title. So people are, everybody is an influencer, but there's tools out there that will show you the engagement that they have with their audience and the people that follow them. Okay, we are getting hands up. So if I can open it up to questions, and I apologize. It's taking long. We have another few more slides, so we might go a little bit over time if that's okay with everyone.
Okay, let's start taking the questions so that we save
May
that.
I ask a question?
Yes, Nurjahan?
Yeah, is that okay? All right. So about LinkedIn, for example,
Yep.
so like are you suggesting that we set up that the organization sets up a specific LinkedIn profile, because all that I have LinkedIn, but that these are only people who are in there are mostly professionals who work in my area of research and do similar work. Very few are others who. So if I want to find an assistant or somebody to help out in my lab, then that's a good place. But I wasn't able to see the relevance of it in the raising funds for a charity organization, unless you are suggesting that each organization should set up an individual LinkedIn network.
Yeah, good question. So you have to treat online networking platforms like LinkedIn as a great avenue, like you would if you go to an event and you network with people who could become potential donors. So it requires a bit of a shift in how we use it. So if you're only networking and connecting with people that are research based and you're only engaging with them, then it might be tough for you to go after them and reach out to them. But for someone like myself who is in fundraising, I'm always looking at different engagement platforms and different ways to create another touch point. So I'll give you an example of how we used it. We looked at and yes, I do encourage everybody to create an organization page because you will find that people are following, post on it, share information of relevance to people on LinkedIn. So professional development things that you may have, things that you are doing specifically in your projects that help others. Um, but use it to connect with people like you would one to one. So you have the ability to reach out to others you may or may not know. If you don't know them, you can always introduce yourself and tell them that you want to take 20 minutes of their time to have a coffee. Tell them a little bit about the organization. But a cold reach out is always less likely to be answered than a warm one. So what I suggest is using it as a platform where what I've done is I look at our donor database, or I have our teams do that, compare it with who on there do we have that's on LinkedIn. So if we find people that are, we reach out to them through our teams and we ask them to connect us with a few more who would be willing to support our projects. And through that, we've had a few of us get introduced to five, six, seven different people. And because it was a warm introduction, it led already from a place of trust. So they're like, look, we know these people, we know this organization, we support them. We'd like you to have a conversation with them. And that resulted in us now opening new doors, not being able to do it face to face. We were able to do it through LinkedIn. Having an organization page and people following you is also a great way to then follow up with those individuals. So you might have people who engage with your content. And LinkedIn is a bit more, you find the users that are using are professionals, seasoned, and obviously there are some who are looking for work and whatnot. So you can tap into the right resources if you're doing, like major gifts donors or something like that. So
So are you
it can be used for great ways other than just for your own area of work.
So are you suggesting the organization set up? Can one set up uh,
Yeah,
an organization can set up its LinkedIn page.
of course, yes. So
Oh, okay,
LinkedIn, you can
that's
have an
useful.
organization page, but you
Okay.
as an individual also represent that organization, right? So if you want to reach out to people for that organization, um, y- if it's how you've got your profile set up, that and mine says I work for IDRF. So when I reach out, people know I'm reaching out on behalf of IDRF.
Yeah.
I just wanted to interrupt here. I know that it's past 4 o'clock and some
Yes.
have to go. So before I, ask people to ask their questions, can anybody tell me if they have to leave right away, or can they stick around for another maybe 7, 8 minutes? We can take it till 10 after 4.
Okay, so I'll cover some of this as you see the raising of the hands. So on Google, we talked about search engine optimization, but another platform or another way is um, AdWords for you to be able to put out advertising on Google. And unfortunately, in Ramadan, it becomes extremely, extremely expensive in the Muslim space because everybody wants to bid on the same words, and it's keywords that you go after. So, for example, zakat, right? This is one that is every year becoming more and more and more expensive. I know in US it's probably even more expensive, but it's looking at, around $5, $6, $7 a click before to now reaching into the $10, $15 per click. So it gets very expensive and you have to be very targeted with how you set this up. So in search engine optimization, it was talking about building it over time so you become higher ranked. But if you're not higher ranked, you can pick based on Google's ad pages to help you either be first, second, third, fourth, fifth in the ranking. And that'll show up as this ad. And when I write the word zakat, you find different organizations ranking. So the higher you are, the more it'll cost per that click. So your teams have to be strategic and look at different timings and approaches when you set up your Google campaigns for fundraising. They bear results 100%. You will get results, but you also don't want to put all your eggs in one sort of campaign to get that traffic. The other ways people do it is through link building and running ads for different parts of your website. So Ramadan, another example, you are going to look for prayer timings, or throughout the year, you might look for prayer timings. So when I typed in the word prayer timings on Google, this was the first ad that came up. Now, Islamic Relief is not a prayer organization, but they have a page on their website which links to prayer timings. And what's the benefit of this? Now I have landed on their website. So they have captured my, you know, online cookies and they are able to serve me different ads based on me now landing on their website and different ads that can be served. You can set up visual ads. So through your displays, you can set up text only, which is keywords, and you have to have multiple sizes and shapes and stuff going in. This can be used for remarketing. So specifically people who are landing on your website and engaged with your website, people who have searched for you. So, setting up budgets so that, for every click, you might say we're only going to spend $100 maximum per day, but then you are picking words that people are going to search, and Google will help you through words that are important. Now, here's another thing that was quite interesting. You might go to a website and you browse, you don't buy something, you leave. Now you're scrolling through Facebook, and then you see their ad, and that's because this is where all sites are saying, allow us to capture your cookies and stuff, so that you can start to see the relevant thing. So you might have been looking for this, you didn't buy it. Now you're starting to see the ad, it's reminding you, and it's even giving you that, hey, remember there's 40% clearance. So make sure you use the code and come and get it. So it'll always be great for us to also create ads that are retargeting people. And Google allows for this. So you can set it up that it's remarketing to people who've come to your site who have or have not engaged with your content. And that's a great way to try and capture a warmer audience. Now, one example I shared here, somebody asked about videos and use of videos. Videos is a great, great way to engage and share content with individuals. I just shared two examples here. One where, from our organization where the Prime Minister was giving a shout out to us, you find that it had a high viewership, it had a lot of engagement, a lot of shares because people see this as, hey, wow, this is great. Somebody is saying great things about us and great thing about Muslim organization. Let's share it. But it got high viewership. Same with the last year Ramadan video, and we also used videos and boosted them. So what did this do? People watch the video, there's links set up, people can click on that link and then come to our website. But we also ran ads specifically linked to these videos so that we could have viewership growing, and the more people that are watching your content and engaging with your content, you're going to have it coming up in other people's news feeds and other people's stories. And it's critical to put budgets aside for video marketing. Video marketing costs more money than your average costs like YouTube, Vimeo, Facebook video, and others will cost a little bit more, but the engagement will definitely increase. Okay, coming to my final thoughts on all the different areas. One will not reap all your results. So you have to diversify your efforts. You can't put all your eggs in one basket. I would suggest for those of you who are starting to dabble into the online marketing space and are new, and I heard some are, bigger organizations, 30 million plus, they must be doing this for a long time. Start small, experiment, and work on areas that'll bring in the highest results. So we know that your email marketing, if you do it right, you're already engaging with constituents. Focus on having a mix of activities, some that are narrow casting that you're focusing on, like your major donors or your LinkedIn prospecting of premium donors, and some are wide, like your efforts through your social media engagement or your crowdfunding. And have a great balance between your retention efforts and acquisition efforts. Don't put everything into let's acquire new donors, let's acquire, because if you only focus on acquisition and not on retention, then you're always going to be stuck in this cycle of spending a lot of money to bring people in, whereas it costs a lot less to keep people. And with anything to do with marketing, you have to take risks and you have to try new things. So, you have to be creative. You can't always put the brakes on things. The benefits of online is you can try it. If it's not working, you can stop. You haven't put big investments in. You can put $100, $50 budget, see how it's doing. If it's doing well, you can boost it up, and if it's not, you can always put a pause on it. But try your ideas. And with digital marketing, you don't have to do the one size fits all. Like we saw with the different ads that different organizations are running, you invest a little bit, you create the content, and you target it to the right people. And lastly, as I mentioned, you want to invest in a good donor management software so that you can make sure your data is always continuously clean. As I said, what you put in, the inputs that go in are what's going to result in the outputs. So if your data going in is bad, the results you're going to cut coming out are also going to be bad. And I apologize for going over and rushing through some of this, but here is my information. I'm more than willing and happy to provide one-on-one assistance to anybody that is needed. You're more than welcome to reach out, and I'm sure I can learn things from all of you as well. So I pass it back to Sister Nargis if there's any questions.
Yes, Sister Firdaus has a question.
Yes, hi Mahmood. I just want to know CCMW is about to launch a campaign for Ramadan. And again, it's not for CCMW, but we are planning to help another charity. So I just wanted to know we are deciding between Launch Good and GoFundMe. So if you can just kind of give us the positives and negatives for both.
Yeah, so Launch Good, we all know, is very Muslim centric, right? So Launch Good is founded by Muslims. Majority of the campaigns on there are focusing on Muslim audiences. If your campaign is very general and you think you will get support from the masses, we know Dawanet, when they first ran their campaign for the Quebec mosque shooting, they went with GoFundMe, and then the house rebuilding and getting the stuff for Amen, they ran it through Launch Good. So you have to look at your audience that you're going to engage with. If it's very niche demographic you're going after, Muslim audience, then Launch Good is a platform where you're going to find random donors, $1, $2 coming in. The fees are also something you want to look at. I think GoFundMe is slightly lower in their fees in compared to Launch Good. But with Launch Good, you have a warm audience. The likelihood of getting engagement for people specifically in Ramadan is going to be much higher. And tons and tons of Muslims go to Launch Good specifically in Ramadan to give their funds through crowdfunding. So you have to weigh out those options and you look at your constituents that are going to give to you, and then you would set up your campaign through that. There are new ones coming into town as well. There's Just Giving, which is another one that's launching. There's Classy, and there's a few other crowdfunding platforms that are there. So look at the best option that suits your constituents.
We have a question from Smile.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Smile, you're muted.
Yes, it's not so much of a question. It's more of asking for collaboration. Like, since we're all are on here, all organizations or fundraising managers from different organizations, is it possible that we can bounce ideas off each other, work together in any way? I'm just putting that out there. I mean, is that possible? So we can help one another?
Always, always. Smile for me, and I can't speak on everybody's behalf, but just from my own. Smile is a great organization. I've known Smile and Sakina and Fatima and everybody else as good friends. So I'm more than willing to support you in any way, shape, or form. And that applies to everybody here. CCMW is doing great work. They've supported us for a long time. But Kaser, Ersan, My Voice, Dharma, so many great organizations here. So I'm more than willing to collaborate, help, provide support, ideas. The stronger we all become as institutions, and not just as individual organizations, it's better for us as a Canadian society and providing services. All of us are providing to not just Muslims. So it's great to collaborate and work together. I've found it never takes away from your fundraising revenues. You can help as many people as you want. You still look at your donor database. You might have 20,000 donors, but the blue ocean side of things, there's still another however many million Muslims, specific just Muslims, in the country that you can go after and help each other to reach. So I think collaboration is a great way. It doesn't have to be always competition to cut each other down, but it can be competition to help each other. So I do encourage all of you to reach out to each other as well.
Okay, great, thank you. So we can share our emails in the chat box, and we can all reach out to each other?
Well, actually, if you all agree with sharing the emails, and I have everybody's email, and I can put you all on one email and shoot it off, inshallah.
Well, mine's here for everyone, so you can take it.
And I know that we have run out of time. We are 14 minutes past. There are people asking questions, but
Okay.
I would suggest that if you could just send the email to Brother Mahmoud Qasim, that would really be great, because I'm pretty sure none of us can really stop with our questions. There's so much to take in.
Oh my! I just opened the chat.
Yeah, you could just put it in the chat right now, and maybe inshallah he will answer. But also, I just wanted to mention that because of such workshops that are so important, and one day is never enough, inshallah, post Ramadan, we are hoping for more, like, for example, 5-level, courses and stuff, because we really need to know how to do all of this stuff, things like fundraising, things like not-for-profit board governance, and all sorts of volunteer management, all sorts of things. So inshallah, Sound Vision is putting it together. You can visit our website, soundvisioncanada.com, and you can also donate and help us bring in more trainers, inshallah. But hopefully you'll be seeing Brother Mahmoud Qasim soon, and I really appreciate his information. This was just a true gem today. So please feel free to reach out to him. Once he gives me his slides and we have the video, I will shoot it off to you in an email.
I'll send that to you right now.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, everyone, and look forward to connecting with all of you in the COVID era and hopefully also in the post-COVID era.
Brother Mahmoud, thank you, and Assistant Nergis, thank you very much for setting this up.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, very helpful.
Take care, everyone.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Take care, everyone.